spent so much money on these packs that I might as well buy the new set because I have no other choice. I can't give up on this collection that I've built. And for that to be married with a pure entertainment value game, I think is a huge issue with Web 2 games.
Yeah, and I think that they just don't have the incentives to give incentives to the players since they have the following already. They have the user base and the player base, so they're like, oh,
Well, and they have shareholders. So not only do they not have the incentive to give back to the players, but they actually have an incentive to take from the players as much as possible because it's their fiduciary duty to their shareholders. So if they have a way to make more money off of their players, they actually are sort of legally enforced to do that.
well,
And
but I think at some point they will need to adapt because if they start losing players, like because I know there are no AAA games yet in the Web3 space, but there are some that are trying to or planning to. So if games like the traditional games started losing player base and therefore income, they should. I think they should adapt in some way. They adapt or die because at some point, the only way to make money is actually to have active players, and if you don't, just like you you dust it on the shelves and like that's it. So I think they would need to adapt, but that would
yeah,
depend.
so I
Of
want to talk about that adaptation and answer this question in chat from Max Maka at the same time. He says that it seems so far in Web 2 communities don't like these Web 3 games very much. There's a lot of hate all NFTs. What's your opinion about it? So here's here's my thinking on that. I think that these legacy game companies are so desperate to hold on to what they have that there's this massive misinformation campaign that comes directly from them. And I've experienced this from, Blizzard employees and other large gaming corporations that all like just kind of echo chamber hate on NFTs as though they're like the work of the devil. And it's mind blowing to me some of the arguments that I've heard. But what I think is happening is that a lot of these people have convinced themselves that what they're doing is the legitimately the best thing for players, or they're insidiously trying to implant this idea that NFTs are just out to scam you of your money because they want the game to only care about the finances. And so it's really going to take a AAA game that is so much fun that it truly rivals that of like the best AAA games in Web 2 that people start to see like that people are enticed enough to play the game. Because I think if you play around with NFT card games, if you play around with Skyweaver, maybe some people won't like Splinterlands. I have to be honest. Like I've seen it myself because there is this like some people they want to drop $400 and have access to all the cards in the game. And when you play Splinterlands, you drop $400, you have access to like 5 cards. And it's just not enough for some people. They're like, I don't have enough money to drop on the game. I don't care that there's earning potential. I want to play at the challenger level for $500. And if I can't get that, I just have no interest in the game. And so those people are going to go elsewhere. And that's okay. But we need an NFT game where those people can go that they can drop $500, have a full collection, and get the same experience they're getting in Hearthstone or Magic or whatever else, where they can play at the highest competitive level for that amount of money and still own their cards. And then they're going to be like, wait, maybe NFTs aren't so bad. It's not all about the economy of the game. It's about actually just owning the things that I bought like I used to when I bought a freaking Nintendo game back in the 90s. Like you bought the cartridge, you own the cartridge, you could sell it on eBay and somebody else could play with it. Now you buy a game, you buy it on Steam and you can't sell it. It's tied to your Steam account. You'd have to sell your whole Steam account. It just doesn't work. The digital games have just changed the way that we view ownership of the things that we buy. And NFTs are finally unlocking that. The problem is that, a lot of people are seeing games like Splinterlands and they think that's all NFTs have to offer. And I think Splinterlands is a really cool economy. It fits for what some people are looking for. The Filipino players that are looking to make some money off of playing a game. It can work really well for them. But there are people in America that make plenty of money at their day job, and that's not what they're looking for at nighttime. They're not looking for a game they can make money off of. They're looking for a game that's really fun. And I think that ownership of their digital assets is like very secondary to the amount of fun that they're having. So we need a AAA game that's equally as fun that still gives that ownership. And then it's going to kind of click for a lot of those people that okay, all games should be doing this. And the games that aren't doing this are actually a little bit predatory in nature. They're trying to milk their player base. They're trying to make an abundance of money that they don't need to be making to create the amount of fun that the game experience is giving to the players. And so like that's missing. I think it's a missing gap in Web3 right now.
Yeah, but obviously there are steps to in that direction already by some projects.
Yeah, but then it turns out that, the steps take a really long time.
Yeah,
Making a AAA game is no easy task, and we're going to see a lot of attempts at it over the next 3 years, and it's really up in the air which ones are going to be successful.
yeah, but also it was like the same with traditional gaming. Like games were getting better and better, and like there was some breakthroughs all of a sudden, and then yeah, it just takes time. But once you get to the point where people get to certain level, then you're like, that's what you expect as a standard. So if that like one successful AAA Web3 game, I think can change things a lot. Obviously, we're way
No
off.
doubt it's going to happen. I just know, the waiting game can be a little more arduous than you might think. I've been into crypto since, you know, really like 2016. And I've been telling people, oh, Bitcoin's going to be the new money of the world. And here we are 6 years later. And I mean, one, the landscape has changed a bit. I believe in Ethereum a little bit more than Bitcoin now. There's a ton of other cryptocurrencies that are also
Yeah.
seeing adoption, but they're still very niche. Like the general person, you run into in like a grocery store doesn't really care about crypto. And that's with 6 years of development. So, when I'm talking to a random gamer in the world in 6 years, is it going to be like abundantly obvious that Web3 gaming is the future? Or are we going to have one game that has a niche audience that's like, still a big AAA game, but it's not like every AAA game is going Web3 yet? I don't know how long it takes. And so I'm like, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I think it's still very early. I think the landscape is going to look very different in 6 years than any of us imagine it to be in our heads. And the waiting game is going to feel like it takes a really long time. It might not be like 2 years from now. We all of these things that we imagine are have come to fruition. It might take longer than that.
Yeah, probably in 6 years we'll be having this conversation in the metaverse, sitting on chairs, drinking coffee or whatever, like in person. I mean,
Sounds fun to me.
you from your chair, me from mine. But yeah,
We'll do some augmented reality.
yeah,
I'll have my coffee cup. I'll be sipping it right here.
yeah, exactly. So,
I'll be my monkey.
but yeah, I was like based on that question also. It's curious to know what's like you said some players this, some players that, but what was like the overall opinion of Alice following regarding our game? Like, was there any sort of reception or everything in the Splinterlands channel is people from who already came from Splinterlands? Like, was there some real interest in the community of Hearthstone players?
There were some people who gave it a try. I think that um, a lot of Hearthstone players are free to play. And I think, there were some people I know that got into this game that tried to do it free to play and they just weren't having a good time. Like it's a really hard game to get into free to play. Even we got them a free spellbook code and they're just playing with only starter cards and they're not even earning anything because, you guys are trying so hard to block the bots from getting an advantage at the very beginning of stages of the game that like real players can't get past that hurdle without dumping some money into it. And I think that made it really tough. So like a big wave of players dropped off just from the new player free to play experience not being strong enough. Then we had some players that got past that and they played the game, at a very low level and they had some fun and we got a couple of them in our guild and some of them like the game and are still playing it now. But they, at least half of the players were like turned off by how much money they had to put into the game in order to feel like they could play it at the level that they wanted. They wanted to play with in the silver to gold bracket and they realized that like they'd have to put at least a couple $100s in and they just didn't feel comfortable with that. So, you know, I get both sides of it. There's some people who are very competitive Hearthstone players. They're like top of the line competitive, but they grinded a collection for a year to be able to play the game at that level. and they could already see the writing on the wall that like that wasn't an opportunity for them here. And so they just kind of gave up on it. I think one thing that Splinterlands could really improve upon would be a game mode like Hearthstone Arena, where everybody's at the same level of advantage regardless of their collection when they enter the arena. So like I don't know how familiar you are, but arena's like a mode where you spend $1.50 and you draft 30 cards. So you get 3 choices and you pick a card. And then you do that 30 times and now you have your 30 card deck and you play with that deck. So I think you could replicate this in Splinterlands by like I pay $1.50 to play this arena mode and I get a random collection and my opponent gets the same random collection, and then we get a rule set and we play versus each other with this random collection of cards. And you kind of have to dig through and see like, okay, totally new cards to me, or maybe I'm familiar enough with all the cards in the game that I recognize them, but I have to figure out, which synergies do I have? If I click the blue summoner, how many blue cards are in this random collection? How many red cards are in this random collection? You have to figure out which color is the strongest for that rule set based on the collection that you just got, all within a like 3 to 5 minute period or whatever.
Weird
Maybe you
Beard is
get 2
on it.
minutes to look at your collection and then 3 minutes to actually build the deck.
Just to let you know, Weird Beard is on it, so it's something that is being worked on. Both the Ghost Card tournaments, which is already live, and which lets everybody use max level cards.
Right, but I'm saying not max level cards.
No, I understand, but he's
I want
also
limited levels of cards.
yeah, he's also working towards draft competitions as well, where you draft your decks to compete with. So those are things that are being worked on. Also, the onboarding experience is something that will be worked on once they're fine with the whole economy, like when everything is in place. Because, as you said, my point is like you get only one chance for a first impression, and as you said, most of the people in the community of Hearthstone players were not having a good first impression, and I guess that's when the marketing will shoot when they're ready. And but yeah, they definitely are aware that it needs reworking the whole onboarding experience. So I'm just hoping you guys won't give up on trying to educate people that it's not as bad as it seems. And also that
we always keep our ear to the ground on everything Web3, and we're not giving up on Splinterlands. Like we're still playing the game, still grinding to Diamond every single season. I'm definitely staying in tune with all the announcements that are being made for the game, and things like better new player experience or these ghost card tournaments are definitely things that we're going to be pitching to the audience to try and get them to play. And yeah, like we're not going to stop promoting the game if you guys are still doing interesting things. We want all the Web3 games to thrive and do well. And I find Splinterlands a lot of fun. I want other players to be able to have like the fun experience that I've had playing the game. In addition to, the money making opportunities, it's the dual experience is really important. And I think that something like that arena mode would go really far for a lot of the players that tried it out and weren't interested enough to dump hundreds of dollars into the game, but they might be willing to spend $10 a week to play in an arena mode, and then suddenly they're building a collection, and now all of a sudden they do have more of a tie to the game and a way to play the standard constructed mode. I just yeah, I want to make that apparent that like we've definitely not given up on the game. I'm just giving you the feedback that I've gotten from the community of people who have tried it out.
no, I do appreciate. That's what I asked for, like the how you perceive the feedback. But also in the beginning, in one of the early streams, I remember you mentioned something about considering streaming yourself. So how about that? Where is that at?
Yeah. So, I mean, the truth of it is just that I'm working on way too many things right now. And streaming doesn't make me a lot of money. I have a small following, but the 5 to 10 people that watch me they're not going to provide real income. So it would be something that I'm just doing for fun. And I think that it's not as fun as the other things that I could do for fun. Like I don't find streaming relaxing. I find it a little bit like work. You're putting on a show, trying to be entertaining. it's hard for me to like just relax when I'm in that mindset. So I end up, a lot of the time just choosing not to stream because it doesn't sound like the most fun thing I could be doing during my fun hours. And during my work hours, I have a lot of other things to work on. So, I'm working on my own play to earn game. It's like a Discord RPG. And we've been putting a lot of work into building that. I advise multiple crypto projects and non-crypto projects that are considering becoming crypto projects. I'm probably an advisor to like 4 companies right now. I try to help with capital raising for a couple other companies, and I also have my own like DeFi portfolio that I manage. And so there's so many things to do in a day. It's really hard to cut out that time for streaming and fit it into one of the buckets of like where I want to spend my time. Maybe in the future, if things calm down for me a little bit, I stop taking on as many of these like advisorship opportunities or um, spending so many hours on like this first phase of the game. Like I could see myself streaming a bit more, but right now it just doesn't feel like it's something that's in the cards for me.
Yeah, for now it's a no-go. Well, I was curious since I'm sure a lot of people. I don't know how. Like I didn't even know that you're streaming, so maybe that could be the reason of 10, 15 people following you. But yeah, I.
Well, I guess I have like 500 followers, but when I stream,
Oh,
only like 10 of them are watching me at any time. So like there's 44 people watching right now. I'd probably have something like 10.
yeah. Well, I mean, on a side note, you're more than welcome anytime, Wednesday or Sunday. You're more than welcome to join my show, and we can have more discussion. Um, Max Maka is asking how about the rental market. I think this is something which this differs Splinterlands from other card projects. And also you didn't mention that, but there are plenty of successful players who rely on rental. There is new service Nifty Arcade which should provide something similar, but I think easily accessible. So that's in regards with what you said about the new player experience.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like it took some time to understand the rental market and to understand how much you're going to earn. And I think a lot of people are, as new players, uncomfortable. Like there's so much education that has to go into that.
Yeah.
So you're like probably a person that has a really good understanding of the game and the rental market and which cards you need to rent and how much money you can make off of them. And you're more willing to do that. I think a lot of people are like, that's just a lot of work for me as a new player. I don't even know if I'm going to enjoy the game. So one, I have to put money in so I can start renting the cards. Two, I have to understand the game economy to understand, which cards I should be renting. I think as a new player, like you're just going to be so lost on that it's not going to make a lot of sense for you. It's not to say you can't do it. It's just that these barriers to entry for a new player are not something you want there in the game in the first place. There's something that like it's great that exists, but the new player experience has to be something else. And then once you're through the new player experience, hopefully you'd have the education and the resources available to start renting cards, to know which cards you need to rent, to know how to play with those cards so that you can make the money back from renting them over that time period. And then you can finally start to like play that game. But the new player is not playing that game right away. The new player doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the money, doesn't have the knowledge. Like there's a gap, and I'm saying we need to close that gap. And I think there's a different way to close that gap than just having the rental market exist.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some of the ways we're trying to close the gap is like with all the content that people like Budok are putting for new players to get familiar with the game. Is like, yeah, if somebody gets attached in a way, like if they like whatever the initial experience is, they'll go and research and read about it and learn and watch videos and whatever. But you're right about that. That initial experience should be captivating. And as I said, from what I know, that it's something the team is having in mind, working on. It's just like it haven't come to a point where they can go ahead with it because of the constant changes they are forced to be playing, to be making in order to reach to a level where the game is sustainable. So they have like priorities, and I guess the priority of the new people onboarding is like right after they fix the whole economy thing. Because if you make guides now and then 10 days later things completely change, then you have to start from scratch doing those guides about the new things. Change everything in all the places, because sometimes you reference something here and then you forgot that your reference is there as well, and then people reading like, oh well, here says something and it's not actually that it is like. So I do understand them that it's not time for that yet, but it's not also a point that they're ignoring. So I think we'll be seeing more and better things about that.
Yeah, I think that the team's doing a lot of really interesting stuff, and I'm looking forward to all of it. So like each thing they release, I'm paying attention. Hopefully we can get more people interested in the game as some of this stuff comes out. We're definitely going to keep pitching it in the community. Like that's what AllieCoin's all about, is just like giving people the different options, the different games, why you'd want to play each one. And we're going to keep Splinterlands in that rotation as we grow. So hopefully, more Web 2 gamers start becoming interested in converting to Web 3. And as they migrate over, we can give them the different options, and some of them are going to end up in Splinterlands.
And I appreciate all the work you guys do, like all the efforts you put. I know it was initially a paid partnership, but I think both of you went way beyond that. So I think that's kudos
Oh
to
yeah,
you
I mean,
and
Allie's taken
appreciate.
so many paid partnerships where she literally just does like the minimum hours in the contract and then that's it. We've definitely stuck around with Splinterlands far past the paid hours. She's streamed it multiple times just on her own. She's done extra hosts. We put on tournaments in the game, so we put our own money
Yeah.
into a lot of those tournaments. Like half the prize pool is sponsored by us. And we also started a guild within the game, and we've brought some players from the
Yeah,
AllieCoin
I
community into
remember.
that guild, and we're picking up cards and a node and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, we're Splinterlands players now, and we're planning on sticking around for a while. How much, what percentage of our game playing time it takes up, I still don't know. But we'll see. A lot of it for Allie, you have to realize, is it's not just about the in-game earning potential. It's about her career growth. And so like a lot of the times the amount of money that a game makes a player isn't relevant to her career growth. It's more about how many players are playing the game. And so if you have a game with like a million players and none of them are making money, there's still eyeballs. And eyeballs is viewership, and viewership is sponsorship money. And it's people that, games are willing to pay for eyeballs. That's just how the world works. And so for Allie, like that's her career path, is how many people can watch me while I'm streaming. And when she streams Splinterlands, she's not going to get as many people watching her as when she streams Hearthstone.
No, I do
And then that
understand that.
means that sponsors aren't going to be willing to pay her as much. And so, does the game make up for that in its earning potential? It's very unlikely, right? The game would have to make her a lot of money in order to make up for the loss in viewership. And so, it's not something she can dedicate, her entire stream hours to. It's something she can fit in throughout the week as like a fun little bonus and to keep the, community interested in Splinterlands. But it's not going to be something that becomes her main game anytime soon. And I know there's been some people in the Splinterlands community that have made comments in her chat that's like, why haven't you gone full-time Splinterlands? And so I might be over explaining this now, but I mean, that's a bit of the reason, hopefully that's understandable for people.
No, yeah, that's why I said I do understand that there was the partnership requires a certain amount of hours. She went through that, but she went beyond that as well. So I'm saying like, I think I can speak for at least part of the community where we say we're grateful about her going over the boards with that, like doing more than she was actually supposed to by the partnership. So that's why that was also one of the main reasons in the beginning of the conversation I asked you about Alicoin, because I think we as probably you figure out that we as a community, Splinterlands community, are very giving community, and we are, I mean, I think one of the best communities at least I've come upon. So when we receive, we want to give back, and I was thinking like, yeah, one of the simplest ways of giving back is like investing into something that you guys creating. So that was my whole idea, and I was just trying to figure out the easiest step for that.
Well, you have convinced me, I think, to look into a little more deeply how we can bridge AllieCoin over to the Hive ecosystem. If I think it works both ways, right? Like it makes Allie coin holders a little bit easier of a time getting into Splinterlands. If they want to buy a card or two, they could just send some Allie coin over, swap it for DEC, and go buy some stuff on the marketplace.
Yeah.
And it makes the people who are into Splinterlands a little bit easier to pick up some Allie coin, join our channels, and chat with us about Web3 games. So I'll look into doing that, and we'll see where it goes. We've definitely seen some support from Splinterlands people already, which has been really cool. And we have that Splinterlands channel in the Alicoin Discord. I chat in there about my games sometimes. We have the guild going on. Still got some spots. Luckily
Yeah.
we've got
Say
we've got Brybro
they'll,
filling up all the spots in our
they'll
guild with like extra accounts of his. So if people want to join, we can fit them into the guild. Yeah,
give a shout out.
we're
Tell them which guild you are in. Like, yeah, tell them about what type of players you're looking for. And I'm curious because I remember the whole conversation when everybody was trying to convince Ali, come join our guild, come join our guild, and she was like, no, I'll make my guild. I'm just not ready yet. So I didn't know that you guys went through with it, and I'm also curious to know the name. So go ahead, make a shout out.
Yeah, the guild's called the Red Dragon Flight. It's called that because Allie's always called her audience the Red Dragon Flight. Alex Straza in WoW is the Red Dragon Queen, and
Yeah,
her
I
name's
have been
kind of
healing her way too many times.
yes. So she's Ali Straza, which kind of like a play on words, but Straza is just a suffix for a red dragon, and so she is the leader of the Red Dragon Flight. So that's the name of the guild. It also says like Allie and Mason's Guild and like the subtext underneath it. I'd say it's like a bit of a newer player guild, right? Like we just started it out, so we don't even have like all the phrase accessible right now. But we've been leveling it up. We've got the level 2 barracks, we've got the level 2 store. So I'm playing some of those brawl cards in my fights these days, and we do fairly well in most of our weekly guild matches. And we're looking for just like anybody who's interested in becoming part of the Alicoin community. So if you're a new player, that's fine. Like I mentioned before, we picked up a Splinterlands node. I used the rewards. I picked up a node specifically for the Alicoin treasury. So I use those rewards from that node to buy cards and give them to players that are in our guild so we can win more matches and grow the guild. So we look at it very synergistically. We want people to help us win our matches, but we also want to help people grow their collections. And that's kind of what the guild's about. So whether you're an experienced player or you're more of a new player, we're happy to fit you in and let you play the fray that you want to play. It's pretty casual right now, but if we start to, pick up steam and there's more people that want to join than we can let in, maybe we'll start to make it more competitive. But yeah, we're just having a fun time, just trying to show people around the Splinterlands ecosystem. And I think one really cool thing about the guild matches is that the level caps are really low in the beginning. So it makes the new player experience actually a lot nicer. You can play in a competitive way. You can play with your friends. And the matches are meaningful, but you don't have to have max level cards to be playing in those.
So it was Red Dragon? Red Dragon? What?
Yeah, Red Dragon Flight.
Flight. And do you have like any requirements about daily, weekly, monthly, season DC contributions or like?
Right now, we don't have any requirements. If you're in the guild and you're never playing in a fray, I think that we'd probably kick you out at some point. But right now, it's pretty casual.
Just activity
So
based. You want people to participate, obviously.
I just want people participating. Yeah, if people are playing their matches and you're hanging out, that's more important to me right now than DEC contribution. I've been throwing a lot of DEC into upgrading the buildings. Obviously, we're not like a super high level guild, but most of our stuff is leveled up a little bit, and I've been leveling it up a little bit more each week that we go. So we'll see where it goes, right? Like it's still like less than a month old, or maybe it's 1 month old now. But we'll see where it's at in 3 or 4 months. But yeah, the more people that we can get in there that are just playing their matches, we're happy to have them around. And if you want to contribute DEC, you might see like a nice card in your account one day. Who knows?
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the Rooney project? And have you aped in?
Well, I missed it sold out so quickly, the
Yeah.
whitelist spots for that. That I guess I missed that, and I haven't checked back in to see if they're are they trading on the market right now?
Yes, and they're trading below the mint, which is going to go live in a day, like the before below the public mint floor. So they like, I last checked, the cheapest was like around 0.26 ETH or something. Obviously, they're like the most common ones, but the public mint is starting like in a day. And let me check. I have the page open. So it starts
Is it
in
going to be a
1 day and
point
35
five E?
minutes. It will be
Yeah, do
point.
you mind linking it in the chat? I
Yes,
wouldn't mind
I
just like
don't.
checking it out real quick.
You
So
just
yeah, I mean, I
go.
know about the project in general, but I haven't looked into the pricing or like where they're at in releasing it. It's a cool concept. I really like it. Ethereum PFP projects were really hyped for a while. I feel like they kind of missed the wave on that a little bit, but it's still nice that they're trying to tap into the Ethereum ecosystem. I think it's cool just to like be able to buy a max level card and for that card to have a unique picture attached to it within the game, based on what which one you own. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff that they're doing with this. I'd like to see them expand it over time. Maybe not on Ethereum, but on other blockchains or partnering with other collections where like
They said
those
they're
collections could
considering,
get,
but it
yeah.
won't be the same running thing. It will be something different because they don't want to get
Yeah,
repetitive.
no, I would want it to be something different
Yeah.
with each one. Yeah, I think it's a really cool concept. I'm excited to see where it goes. But overall, it's just one card in the game, so I don't think it makes the biggest difference overall. It's not like a whole, set. If it was a whole set that they sold, that would be really interesting because it's like, okay, I can just buy this set on Ethereum, plug it into the game, and suddenly I'm playing with like the entire Rift Watchers card set. One card, it makes a difference, but it's not going to be playable in every match. I don't know how powerful it is. Maybe it's really powerful. Maybe it's not.
A unique
Um,
card, and it's not powerful. Like, it's like not the power or the stats of the card are not the features people are buying into. It's first being it a representative of you. Like, you have now a distinctive looking card that nobody else in the game has, first of all. And then also on the like, the card was not created for the Splinterlands community. We were just beneficiary of their like, they're giving us early access and cheaper mint price, but it's mostly the project meant for the E12s to have some exposure. It's like a marketing thing. But I was
yeah.
thinking, as maybe not so much for you, but for Allie, having a Rooney in a way to represent whatever, like, her Sprinterlands, like, as much as she gets involved or not, like, just like a real PFP project, in a way that it's a unique, how can I say, unique profile. So something that you can, some people having like ideas of having their Roonies live their own life, like streamers that are streaming one thing, they're like, my Rooney will be like, or musicians, I'm talking about after sound gaming, but like a way of personifying yourself in a different way. And I thought, as being a social part, uh, maybe, as I said, maybe not to you, but to Ali, would be something of interest. And the cool thing is, now when you open OpenSea, just open OpenSea, don't open any, like, just OpenSea.io. That's the first thing that you see for the next 24 hours will be Rooney on top banner of OpenSea, which is the
Oh, that's
partnership
cool.
they did with OpenSea. So yeah, they did like 24 hours to the public mint, and also there are some cheap options already minted. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, some of them look really cool. Yeah, it's really interesting just that they decided to do this. I thought it was a really unique concept when I heard about it, and so I'm excited to see where it goes. I think again, it's something that's cool, but it's not like a make or break for the game. So I don't think this is like the thing that really pushes Splinterlands to the next level,
no,
but it
just
is something really
exposure.
cool that shows that the team thinks in a very unique way and they're constantly like adding little like, pizzazz to the game. And I like that.
Just an exposure, and also something that is unique in the PFP projects as well is down the roadmap is the ability to swap components, so you can actually build your Rooney the way you want it. Like if you buy all the necessary Roonies that have all the components that you want, you can combine those components into one Rooney, the ones that you want, and have it the way you want it. So I think that's something
Yeah,
that
I've seen a lot of PFP projects starting to lean into that, where you can like swap your metadata out and build your guide the way that you want it. It's definitely interesting. I do think it takes away a little bit from, I don't know, part of like the I don't know, the charm of these PFP NFTs is that like
what
they are kind of random
what
in
you're
the way
going
that
to
they're put
draw.
together.
Yeah,
And so when you get one of these ones that looks synergistically cool, that's what makes it cool. And another one, like you might get like rare traits, but they don't look that great. And so that's your unique thing. This, I think it's going to cause like the bad looking traits to be like really low value, because people are just going to like swap out all their bad traits for a bunch of good traits. And I think it's going to cause more disparity between the trait stuff. But I
but
don't know. That's just kind of my theory and thinking on it. I don't think it impacts like the Roonies as much, because they have that other utility.
yeah,
People will still do it, but for the PFP projects where like the only thing you care about is how it looks, I think it's going to cause a weird disparity for some people.
well, you know that some people like the whole aspect of like the Bored Ape Club and the CryptoPunks and whatever is like it's let's say it straight. It's show off. It's a status showing off. You show off that you can afford to have it at some point. It's like a Rolex watch. It's like driving a Ferrari. It's like it's not necessarily the most comfortable car, but it just like it's a show off. So if those people are able to create something to show off with, they'll have their option, and that doesn't take anything from the value of the Rooney when it lies different. Like there's real utility connected to it. So it's like at the moment it's just a card in the game, but also down the line it was mentioned in the yesterday's town hall they plan on adding different utilities to that Rooney. Some things that make it valuable to have one, two, or more. They plan to connect it in a way with land as well. So, like they were working on utilities for the Rooney itself without the trades, but giving the option for people to actually go after whatever they want to express in their showing off world. It's also a cool option because now you have it both ways. You have the option to create something if you want, and you have the option to pick something cheap for the utility because it gives you that utility. So that's about the devaluing. I don't think will affect as much because, as I said, the card will still have utility, and it's a limited amount. Like every Rooney is a max level card in the game, and yeah, at the moment we don't have that many players playing at the max level, but hopefully with time that will change. But the amount of runes won't change. So at some point there will be some scarcity there as well. So I'm not worried about the runes with bad trades being useless down the line, but I think that potential of people wanting to go into different trades and the amount of trading volume that will bring is what will bring more eyeballs to the project, I think, in the future as well. Because about PFP project, everything is about like exposure. Like a few whales aping, and everybody that follows them like, oh, they're buying this, oh, then I'm buying this too, and it's like that's how the wheel goes. So yeah, we'll see how
Yeah,
it
it's
goes.
a
But
it's a game of indexing, right? Like you have all of these indexing websites that track analytics across all these different blockchains, and most of them aren't looking at Hive. And so when you get a portion of your collection on Ethereum, now every indexing website is going to be picking it up. And so if you have a high volume day where there's a lot of sales that happen, then you're going to go to the top of the volume list on all these indexing websites, and people are going to suddenly see Splinterlands when they might not have seen it otherwise. And bots are going to see it too, and bots are going to buy things based on what other people are buying. And so, yeah, there's definitely a large value proposition in doing this on as many blockchains as possible, and that's why I was like, it's unique and I like it a lot.
Yeah, you have any opinion about the upcoming proposals? Have you dug into it? Have you voted, paid attention, have thoughts about?
Saw one, what was it? It was like
Then trying
something about
to.
SPL rewards.
It was like the one that is like,
Oh, based on max level cards. I think that's what it was.
oh,
I
that
saw the
one.
one where it was like if you had higher level cards, then um, you would get rewards based on how high level your card is.
That one already passed. So yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't talking about
I
like now.
haven't seen the new one. No, I saw a pop up, but I was like, I wanted to go play some of my guild matches and stuff, so I just kind of dismissed it and went right into playing the game.
Yeah, it's about changing the purchase currency for Rift Watchers into DEC, changing the price of the notes into DEC, and changing the liquidity rewards from DEC to SPS. So basically, they're trying to get everything towards getting DEC back to peg, so they can actually start working towards the goal that they had in the beginning, where in order to get DEC, the only way will be to burn a dollar value of SPS. So that will increase the value of SPS, since that will be the only way to make DEC, which people need for renting, need for buildings and whatever. It doesn't seem like the card and the validator nodes pricing in DEC will pass, but the cutting off the liquidity rewards and switching into SPS, which for now it looks likely to pass. So that the last real creator of DEC will be gone, and I think that will be good for the ecosystem as in bringing DEC closer to peg, which in turns will make it work the way they intended to.
Yeah, I mean, also bull market probably helped with that.
Well, yeah, which we probably won't expect for anytime soon, but
Probably not,
yeah.
but it's cool that they're thinking about that. It's the economy is definitely important to a game like this, so they need to be doing what they can. Yeah, I haven't paid as much attention to the proposals. I feel like I have to be really deep into an ecosystem to want to vote on that type of stuff. Otherwise, I just let the other people that it's like more of a major focus in their life. But like, I'm a Bored Ape holder. I don't even vote on those proposals. So like I feel like I'm in so many ecosystems and I'm just like I try to find ones that I feel like the people they have leaders in those ecosystems that are pushing those proposals forward and they can figure that out and then I can just be like, I like what these guys are doing, and because they're making the decisions, not because I'm making the decision. So I'm just kind of trusting that the community is going to make the right decision on my behalf. And if they stop making the right decision on my behalf, that might change my opinion on whether I want to stick around in that community or not. And I think it's like different strokes for different folks. Some people want more of a say. They want to like exert their will on the ecosystem. And so they're trying to vote on everything and they're trying to talk in the forums and get other people to vote the way that they're voting. I'm just like not in a position right now where I want to be the person doing that.
Yeah. Do you have any opinion, any thoughts about the other projects, like the other products of the team, like the tower defense game, the GOX, the Ghost Genesis League soccer thing that they're working on?
The I don't even know the last one you just mentioned.
GOX?
Yeah, what is that?
It's Genesis League Sports. So like the first one is the soccer. They have a partnership with the MLSPA, like Player Association of the MLS. So they'll be creating probably a mix between So Rare and Splinterlands, where you get cards and then you can get a couch and all the cards that you combine them in a way that to play a match, and it's like it will be more reactive than Splinterlands. But yeah, I'm surprised you haven't heard about that, but that's one of their
So
projects
hard
as
for me
well.
to keep up with everything
Yeah, no,
going
I
on in
do
crypto.
understand.
I work on my own projects too, so I have to be spending a lot of time thinking about how I want those to work.
But so
Um,
I guess you don't
but
have opinions on those
I
insinuations.
definitely don't have opinions on that one because I just haven't looked into it. The tower defense looked interesting, but again, like I can't split my time amongst so many things. So I think I just try to stick to like what I know best, and that's card games.
Yeah.
So when it's like a tower defense or a sports game, I just kind of like instantly check out because I'm not interested in those. But they seem like fine projects, and the team is good. So if you're into tower defenses or you're into those sports games, like they're probably worth checking out. I think for me personally, I just tend to stick in like the card game realm.
Yeah. So it basically anything that like the thing that you're most excited about Splinterland, like where you're, I don't know, what whether it is
I'm
something
excited
in the
for
present.
rotation on modern and to see what the meta looks like in the future. I'm excited for ghost card tournaments, and I'm excited for a possible limited mode. Those are probably the things that I'm most excited about. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we we're like we have 19 minutes left. It's like you way over the hour that you were committing. So, do you wanna like keep on with those 90 minutes, or you wanna say your farewell and get to the more important things of your day? I just didn't. I did just now. I
No, I don't want to.
noticed
I don't want to say my other things are more important. I think
time flies when you're in nice
how
company.
yeah, time definitely flies. How important something is to me is definitely like you never know what could come out of a situation. This could be the most important thing I do today, or it could be the least important thing I do today. It just depends on how things shake out. It's kind of like I'm a go with the flow person, so
Yeah,
the world takes me where it's going to. I really enjoyed our conversation. I do think that at this point, I've talked about most of the things I wanted to talk about, and I feel like we had some really good conversations. So I probably will take my leave pretty soon here.
yeah.
But I wanted to thank you for having me on
No,
and getting to
appreciate you
talk about these
coming.
things.
Yeah,
I really like your perspective on things, and I really enjoyed, learning a little bit more about the Splinterlands community. Every time I meet another person from it, it feels so vibrant, and like you all know really well what's happening, and there's so much going on. Sometimes it's even like it's a little overwhelming for me, but yeah, I like playing the game. I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna keep trying to learn about the things as they evolve, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to all those things like the rotation of modern and the new kind of things that are coming down the road for the game. And I'll keep a eye on land and the spells and all of that. I think it's really cool. And if you guys want to, learn more about our thinking in Web3 games and what we, you know, other non-Splinterland stuff, just general Alley Coin, feel
yeah.
free to join the Alley Coin Discord.
You go and
Um,
do your like everything, like all links that you wanna post towards your socials and everything. Yeah, you're more than welcome. It was immense pleasure having you. I appreciate you taking from your time, and yeah, it was really a great conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot of things as well. And I do hope at some point there will be that crossover where we can, as a Splinterlands community, can seamlessly go from Hive to Alicoin. So hopefully that is something that will work out whenever whatever you go with. And yeah, once again, thanks for having you in the channel, and thanks for your time. I know you're a busy guy, so appreciate it.
I'm trying to grab all my links real quick.
Yeah, no pressure. People say great conversation, Mason. Great hearing a different perspective. That's from CryptoAce. And Max Max says great guest. And yeah, guys, whoever
Yeah.
haven't
So I
yet
popped
checked,
my did someone put my Twitch in there? I put my Twitter, and I put the Alicoin Discord. So like if you want to chat with me, Discord's the best way. Twitter's probably the social media I use the most, but I don't tweet all that often. And then my Twitch I will stream on every once in a while. I mostly play Dance Dance Revolution. I play the game competitively. I actually just took second in a tournament.
oh,
So if you're
wow,
into rhythm games at all,
good dancer.
you'll catch me on there doing that. Yeah, I play. Well, I'm a video game dancer,
Okay,
and I'm pretty good. I mean, maybe like top 10 in the world or something.
well,
And then And then I used to play card games more on my Twitch, and there's a chance that I stream some Splinterlands in the future. So I wouldn't blame you if you don't want to follow my channel yet, because I haven't been doing that. But you can always just like keep an eye on it if you're interested in more Splinterlands streamers. I might be playing some games if I get the time to do it.
And one more to one more time, like last time, your guild was Red Dragonflight, right? Whoever is looking
Yes.
for a guild, guys, check them out.
Yeah. Best thing to do is just join the Allie Coin Discord, go in the Splinterlands channel, and say, "Hey guys, I'd like to join the guild," and we will fit you in.
There you go. So you guys have it, and thanks once again for dropping by, Mason. And you're always welcome to the channel. And I know everybody says it, I mean it. So whenever you feel like you want something that you want to address the Splinterlands community or anything, you're more than welcome. Just shoot me a message in Discord, and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Appreciate the invite. And yeah, thanks again for having me, and have a wonderful